Hi. Getting a bit late in the day now, but I'm hoping there's enough light. I'm just looking at a roo down here looking at me. I've had quite a few people asking me about rawhide. They want to know what it is. They know they think it's a type of leather, and they want to know how to prepare it and how it's used. So I thought I'd cover that this evening before it gets too dark and the heat is finally gone. This is a piece of rawhide I've had for quite a while, which I'm actually about to use some of it. As you can see, it's pretty hard. Some people reckon it can stop a bullet. I don't know as I'd fancy my chances of this piece stopping a bullet, but certainly rawhide made from buffalo skin stand a good chance of stopping a bullet. This one is normal cowhide, but it's still fairly tough stuff. Now, rawhide is exactly that. It's a rawhide. It's a rawhide off an animal. The only preparation involved in making it suitable for use is to take all the hair off it on one side and all the flesh and membrane off the other. This was the skin side. As you can see, it's pretty smooth, and this was the flesh side, and it's been fleshed. Still some bits and pieces of dried membrane on it, but that's okay. Like I say, this is pretty old, so you can see that if it's kept dry, it doesn't rot. You don't need to tan it. In fact, if I was to tan this, it'd be a different kettle of fish altogether. It wouldn't be any use as rawhide. The one thing about rawhide that makes it useful is that when it's wet, it stretches, and when it dries, it contracts. So if I was to take a section of this, for instance, say off here, and I was to wrap it round, say, a broken gun stock, when it was wet, which I just soak it in the pond somewhere, in a creek, anywhere, until it was supple, and then bind it round the stock of a gun that was broken, and then leave it there to dry. Once it was dry, it'd be as good as new. I made a warping frame for my wife some years back, and I used no nails in it, just wooden pegs, and just to make sure that it held together, I wrapped the base of each peg in rawhide to the frame, and that's lasted 30 odd years now, and it's still going strong. So yeah, that's basically what it's used for. If you want to attach anything, if you're making a slide car or drag cart, or a travois, beg your pardon, to hold it together. This would be the stuff to use. Cut it into strips and into into manageable strips that you can wrap around and tie, and that's it. Soak it first so it's nice and supple and easy to work with, and tie it up and just let it dry, and as it dries it will contract and tighten, and just squeeze it in. It will it'll make it very tight indeed. So that's it. That's basically what you use it for. If you're going to cut it, you need to be obviously you need to be pretty careful in cutting this stuff. The way I do it, I tend to pull it towards me, but I use my thumb to hang on as a sort of a measure. You don't just pull on it towards you, okay, that's not safe. People will tell you all the time to cut away from you, which is good. In fact, with other things like whittling, if you're sharpening a point on a stick, on a trap stake or something like that, that's fine, because when you slip, okay, it doesn't matter. But if you're pushing on something like leather or rawhide, okay, you don't have the control when you're pushing as you do when you're pulling, and it can just suddenly, the blade can just suddenly go if it reaches a point where it isn't quite as thick as it was everywhere else, and you'll end up cutting a section clean off it. I don't want to cut a section clean off at this stage. What I'd like to do is to be able to go round, work my way round it, so that I've got a long tie, a long thong. So one way of doing that is to try and control it if you can, and either use your thumb to pull it towards you, like so, just a bit at a time. Okay, and if you can see that, I'm cutting a fairly thick strip. It can take me a while to do it. I'm not too worried about keeping it uniform. If you can, that's good. And you see I've reached a tough section there where it's just a little bit harder. Okay, now there's another way of doing this. Let's put that one down for a minute. Goodness sakes, look after it, treat it well. You've got a good knife, you look after it, it'll look after you. I'm telling you this because this method of I'm looking for somewhere to drive this in. Don't go hammering your knife blade in. Don't go back anything with a chunk of wood, okay? It's just not done. If you've got a good knife, you can use your hand. Okay. If you've got a log you can use like this, then the way to do it is to again pull it towards you, because that's just the safest way. If you do that and you do slip, okay, you'll ruin the leather. You won't cut yourself. Whereas if you're pushing, then you can end up falling onto the blade. Okay, I'll see if I can give you a bit of a better close-up than this. Real tough section here. Leave it there. I'm losing light, so I'm going to put this knife back into the log and cut myself some more of this rawhide up. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope that explains everything adequately, and I'll see you next time.